Good morning, students. Today we have come to the end of the chapter Chemistry in Everyday Life. This is the last part of the chapter. So we are going to, today's topic is cleaning agents, which are otherwise called as detergents. Cleaning agents or otherwise called as detergents. We know the role of cleaning agents or detergents. They are going to remove the dirt or grease or fat which are binding to the cloth fabric. So what is the role of a detergent or a cleaning agent? They are going to remove dirt, grease or fat droplets which are present in the cloth fabric. Detergents are classified into soaps and synthetic detergents. Synthetic detergents are further classified into anionic detergents and cationic detergents. So we are going to see the first topic, soaps. What are soaps? Soaps are produced from glycerol ester of stearic acid reacting with alkali to give you sodium stearate plus glycerol. We know the structure of glycerol. What is the structure of glycerol? CH2OH, CHOH, CH2OH. So in that I have removed H. I have removed 3H from the glycerol and I have added a long chain fatty acid which is nothing but stearic acid. C17H35COOH is nothing but your long chain fatty acid called as stearic acid. What I have done? I have taken my glycerol molecule, I have removed 3H and I have added my stearic acid molecule. So what is this structure name? The name of this structure is glycerol ester of stearic acid which is going to react with the sodium hydroxide. Now what happens? 3 molecules of sodium along with stearate, that is C17H35COO. This is called as sodium stearate and glycerol is removed. So I have taken a glycerol molecule, removed 3H plus and added stearic acid. This structure is called as glycerol ester of stearic acid. I have made this to react with sodium hydroxide which is nothing but an alkali. So sodium along with the stearic acid is called as sodium stearate. Glycerol is removed. So only stearic acid should be used for producing soaps? No. Even your palmitic acid can be used and oleic acid can be used. Only sodium hydroxide should be used? No. Even potassium hydroxide can also be used to produce soap. So what is soaps? Soap is nothing but sodium and potassium salts of long chain fatty acid. Fatty acid include stearic acid, palmitic acid, oleic acid. Alkali can be sodium hydroxide or potassium hydroxide. Done. What are soaps? Soaps are nothing but sodium salts or potassium salts of long chain fatty acids. Done. Sodium soaps are produced by heating your fat along with sodium hydroxide. This reaction is called as saponification, which is having a lot of economic importance. So what are sodium soaps? Sodium soaps are produced by heating my fat along with sodium hydroxide. This reaction is called as saponification. In saponification, I am getting ester or fatty acid which can be hydrolyzed by water and my soap will be obtained in colloidal form. This colloidal form of soap can be made to precipitate by adding sodium chloride. So now I have removed my soap as a precipitate. The solution after the removal of soap is going to contain glycerol and glycerol can be removed by means of fractional distillation. This is how soaps are produced. I am repeating this important step. Sodium soaps, how are they produced? They are produced by heating fat with sodium hydroxide. This reaction is called as saponification. Saponification is of great economic importance. Why? Because your ester or fatty acid can be hydrolyzed by water. Soap is obtained in colloidal form. This colloidal form of soap can be converted to precipitate form by adding sodium chloride. As a result, I can remove my soap. Only glycerol is left out. This glycerol can be removed by means of fractional distillation. So almost all the cleaning soaps are prepared by sodium salts and potassium salts. Why only sodium and potassium are used? Because they are soluble in water. Compared to the sodium, your potassium salts are going to impart, their effect on the skin is softer when compared to sodium soaps. Done? So sodium and potassium soaps are used as cleaning soaps. in giving priority, my potassium is going to give a softer effect to the skin compared to the sodium soaps. Okay. Now, what are soap scrapes? I have just moved. We know what is detergent. In that we have seen about soaps. In soaps, the important reaction is saponification, and then we have come to the types of soaps. What are soap scrapes? Soap scrapes are produced by heating your fats and oils along with an alcohol. So what are soap scrapes? Soap scrapes are produced by heating your fat or oil along with an alcohol. Then, what are toilet soaps? Since toilet soaps are prescribed by the dermatologist for a sensitive skin, your toilet soaps are, the fats used in the toilet soaps are of better quality. Their grade is higher. They are of better grade. So, for preparing toilet soaps, better grade fats and oils are used and excess alkali can be removed. In order to increase the market value, suitable colors and flavoring agents are added to toilet soaps to make it attractive. So, soap scrapes, by heating fats or oil along with an alcohol. What are toilet soaps? For preparing toilet soaps, a better grade fats and oils are used and excess alkali can be removed. Coloring agents are added, flavoring agents are added to make it attractive. What are floating soaps? Floating soaps are produced by heating tiny water droplets, tiny air bubbles. The tiny air bubbles, because while setting the soap, the air bubbles formed will be tapped. We will be tapping the template so that all the air bubbles will be removed and the soap will be of uniform, it will be having a uniform texture. But for preparing floating soaps, the tiny air bubbles are heated before hardening. As a result, after hardening, those soaps will be floating in the water. Now, what is the next grade soap? The next grade soaps are nothing but transparent soaps, which is nothing but your Pears soap, which is very, very transparent. Why? Because these soaps will be able, they are dissolving in ethanol and excess of ethanol can be evaporated. That's how your transparent soaps are produced. What are medicated soaps? So, medicated soaps are going to aid the skin problem patients, and most of the medicated soaps prescribed by the dermatologist will be containing some substances of medicinal value along with deodorants. So, what are medicated soaps? Medicated soaps will be containing substances which is going to impart medicinal value along with the deodorants. I think in our previous session we were seeing about antiseptics. Under antiseptics, I was telling you about one particular compound which is going to impart antiseptic property to the soaps, which is nothing but bithionine. So, bithionine is a compound which is added during the manufacturing of soap. Why? Because it is going to impart antiseptic property, like Dettol and Savlon soaps, they will be having bithionine. So, all medicated soaps like Dermadew, Cetaphil, they will be having some substances which is going to provide either the moistening effect or which prevent the scaling of the skin. So, they contain some substance which is going to impart medicinal value along with the deodorants. Now, shaving soaps. Shaving soaps contain glycerol, which is preventing them from drying. They contain excess of glycerol, and a gum called rosin is added. So, as a result, sodium rosinate is produced, which helps in the lathering of the soap very well. So, the last type of soap is laundry soaps, which have sodium rosinate, sodium silicate, sodium carbonate or borax. So, what are the types of soaps? We have seen about soap scrapes, we have seen about toilet soaps, better grade fats and oils, floating soaps by heating the air bubbles, and transparent soaps by adding ethanol and evaporating excess of the solvent, and medicated soaps will be containing substances of medicinal value, and shaving soaps will be containing glycerol which prevent them from drying, and sodium rosinate gum is there, and laundry soaps will be containing borax, sodium silicate or sodium carbonate or sodium rosinate. Yes. Pass. See, next topic is soap chips. What are soap chips? Soap chips are produced by passing thin sheets of melted soap to a cooling cylinder. As a result, my soap will be converted to broken pieces. What are soap chips? Soap chips are nothing but thin sheets of melted soap. When passed to a cooling cylinder, the soap will be converted to small broken pieces. What are soap granules? Soap granules are nothing but dried miniature soap bubbles. They are dried small forms of soap bubbles are called as granules. What is nothing but soap powder and scoring soap? Soap powder and scoring soaps will be containing soap along with an abrasive. Here the abrasive will be my powdered pumice stone or powdered sand, to which builders like sodium carbonate, trisodium phosphate will be added so that my soap will be acting very rapidly. When you compare your normal bathing soaps, you need to apply water and then you have to lather it, then only you will be getting foam. But comparatively, when you add soap powder to a bucket of water and just give a mild shake, you will be seeing a lot number of bubbles. This is because of this builders, the soap powder is acting very rapidly compared to a normal toilet soap. What are soap powders and scoring soaps? They are nothing but soaps containing an abrasive, which is nothing but powdered pumice or powdered sand, to which builders like sodium carbonate, trisodium phosphate are added so that my soap will be acting here very rapidly. Now, till now what we have seen under cleansing agents is how my soap is acting in a normal soft water. Suppose if my water is very hard, then what is the action of soap? We know already in the last year we have studied about hard water, how to remove the hardness of the water. So if I say hard water, then my water is containing calcium and magnesium salts. Now I have my hard water. The hard water is rich in calcium salts and magnesium salts. Now I am adding my sodium and potassium soap to hard water. We already know the structure, which is nothing but sodium stearate. What is the action of sodium stearate in a hard water containing calcium? Here what happens, my sodium will be pairing with chloride, a displacement reaction happens, so sodium chloride is removed and remaining calcium is going to bind with the sodium stearate. This is nothing but an insoluble gum. So whenever my sodium or potassium soaps are acting in hard water, what happens? Sodium chloride is removed and insoluble scum is produced. When an insoluble scum is produced, it is going to hinder the action of a soap. What is the action of a soap? My action of soap is to remove dirt or oil or fat globules which are going to bind to the cloth fabric. So if an insoluble scum is produced in hard water, then this is not useful as a cleaning agent. It is going to hinder good washing and the precipitate will be adhering to the cloth. When I apply dye to such clothes, the dye will not be applied evenly on the cloth. Now this is the action of this insoluble scum which is produced when my soap is acting on hard water. When a bathing soap is used or when it is applied on hair, when you take bath with the hard water, then what happens? Even your hair will not be appearing shiny, it appears dull. Why? Because of the formation of sticky precipitate. So this is nothing but your action of sodium soap and potassium soap in the hard water. In hard water they are not as effective as that of soft water. Why? Because of the formation of insoluble scum, which is nothing but a gummy material which is going to hinder its activity, which is going to reduce the effectiveness of a soap. Yes. Yeah. The next topic is synthetic detergents. We have seen about soaps completely. We saw what are soaps, then types of soaps, what are sodium soaps, potassium soaps, then scoring soaps, soap powders we have seen. The last topic will be synthetic detergents. I have already discussed about this. Synthetic detergents are further classified into anionic detergents, cationic detergents and non-ionic detergents. See, synthetic detergents are more advantageous than soaps. Why? Because synthetic detergents can act in hard water, soft water as well as in ice cold water. while soaps are effective only in soft water. They are ineffective in hard water because of the formation of insoluble scum. While synthetic detergents, they are effective in hard water, soft water and ice cold water. The second property is synthetic detergents have the properties of soap but they do not contain any soap. They have the properties of soap but they do not contain any soap. Okay. So this is the two important properties of detergents. Detergents can act well in hard water, soft water as well as in ice cold water. They have all the properties of the soap provided they do not contain any soap. Now we are going to see what are anionic detergents. Anionic detergents are nothing but sodium salts of sulfonated long chain alcohols or hydrocarbons. What are soaps? Soaps are sodium salts of long chain fatty acids. They are long chain fatty acids. While anionic detergents are sodium salts of sulfonated long chain alcohol or hydrocarbon. So what happens to the reaction here? Your long chain alcohol will be reacting with concentrated sulfuric acid. So I will be getting alkyl hydrogen sulfonate. What I will be getting? I will be getting alkyl because long chain alcohol. This long chain is nothing but alkyl group. So I have got alkyl hydrogen sulfate. Now this is neutralized by adding an alkali, then I will be getting an anionic detergents. Why they have got the name anionic detergents? Because the anionic part of the detergent is involved in the cleaning action. So how the alkyl hydrogen sulfonates are produced? In the same way, your alkyl benzene sulfonates are also produced by the reaction of alkyl benzene sulfonic acid with an alkali. So what is the product? Alkyl benzene sulfonates. This is also nothing but your anionic detergents. What is the use of anionic detergents? They are used in household works and they are used in toothpaste. I am repeating what is an anionic detergent. An anionic detergent is nothing but sodium salts of sulfonated long chain alcohol or hydrocarbon. I have to take long chain alcohol, add sulfuric acid, you will be getting alkyl hydrogen sulfate which can be neutralized with alkali. In the same way, I need alkyl benzene sulfonates which can be produced by alkyl benzene sulfonic acid along with alkali. Why they are anionic? Because anionic part is involved in cleansing action. Now what is cationic detergents? Cationic detergents are quaternary ammonium salts of amines with acetate, chloride, bromide as anions. They are nothing but quaternary, 4 times. Quaternary ammonium salts having amines. These amines will be pairing with acetate, chloride or bromide as anions. Here the cationic part will be containing a long chain hydrocarbon. So there will be a positive charge in the nitrogen atom. So they are cationic detergent. Since cationic part is involved in cleaning action, they are called as cationic detergent. A typical example of cationic detergent is nothing but cetyl trimethyl ammonium bromide, which is used in hair conditioners. They have, your cationic detergents have got germicidal property. Cidal means killing, static, reducing the effect. Since they have got cidal property, germicidal property, they are very expensive. Their usage is limited. Okay. What are cationic detergents? They are quaternary ammonium salts of amines with acetate, chloride or bromides as anion. What is cation? Cationic part will be containing a positive charge on the nitrogen atom. An example is nothing but cetyl trimethyl ammonium bromide, which is used in hair conditioning, as well as they have germicidal property which is expensive. So the usage of cationic detergents is limited compared to anionic.
Stop.
So a typical example of cationic detergents is nothing but cetyl trimethyl ammonium bromide, which is used in hair conditioners, as well as they have got germicidal property. They kill the germs, so they are expensive. Their usage is limited compared to anionic detergents. Moving to the last part, that is non-ionic detergents. Here anionic part is involved, here cationic part is involved. In non-ionic detergents, there is no involvement of ions. So no ions are involved. Then how non-ionic detergents are produced? Non-ionic detergents are produced by the action of stearic acid with polyethylene glycol. Stearic acid with the polyethylene glycol, which should be hydrolyzed to give you a long chain detergent, which is called as non-ionic detergent. What is polyethylene? Stearic acid we know already, we have seen in soap production. What is polyethylene glycol? Polyethylene glycol is it is nothing but a polymer. Polyethylene glycol. Ethylene glycol many times. Many monomers of ethylene glycol combine to form you polyethylene glycol, which is nothing but polymer. This polymer is used in gel electrophoresis, which is nothing but a separation technique. So how was non-ionic detergents produced? Non-ionic detergents are produced by the action of stearic acid with the polyethylene glycol, which undergo hydrolysis. As a result, I will be getting a long chain. See, the mechanism of action of non-ionic detergents is similar to that of soap. We have already seen synthetic detergents possess all the properties of the soap, but they do not contain soap. How soap remove dirt? By the formation of micelles. What is a micelle? Suppose in the cloth there is a oil droplet. See, I have just circled. This is a oil droplet. This oil droplet is attacked by my sodium soap or potassium soap. If it is sodium soap, I will be having sodium stearate. If it is potassium soap, I will be getting potassium stearate. Apart from stearic acid, palmitic acid and oleic acid can also be used. See, here I have an oil droplet. This oil droplet is attacked by sodium stearate. See, your stearate has got two portions, hydrophobic portion and hydrophilic portion. Hydrophobic, water repelling. Hydrophilic, loving, water loving. So, this oil droplet is attacked by the hydrophobic part of the sodium stearate. All my hydrophobic part is going to attack the oil droplets, and hydrophilic part will be exposed to the exterior. All the hydrophilic part of the sodium stearate is exposed to the exterior. So this hydrophilic part is water loving. So my water molecules will go and attach to it, and they will be pulling the dirt. As a result, dirt is removed from the clothes. So how your soaps are acting? My soaps are acting to remove dirt by the formation of micelles. What are micelles? The hydrophobic portion of sodium stearate will be facing towards oil droplet, while hydrophilic part will be exposed to the exterior, which will be attracting your water molecules. As a result, my water molecule will be pulling away the dirt. So as I told you, in non-ionic detergents, there is no involvement of ion. Non-ionic detergents are produced by the combination of stearic acid and polyethylene glycol hydrolyzed to give you long chain. The mechanism of action of non-ionic detergents is similar to that of soaps. They also remove dirt by the formation of micelles. Now, where non-ionic detergents are used, they are used, your anionic detergents are used in household work, toothpaste. Cationic detergents are used in hair conditioners. Non-ionic detergents are used in liquid dishwashers. They are used in liquid dishwashers. Now, what is the drawback of these detergents? Since these detergents contain hydrocarbon, since they have long chain hydrocarbon, these hydrocarbons are highly branched. They cannot be degraded by the bacteria. Bacteria cannot degrade them. So what happens? These hydrocarbons will be accumulating. They will be washed to rivers, ponds, lakes, and they cause excessive foaming. You cannot remove these hydrocarbons even by normal sewage treatment. As a result, they will be accumulating in rivers, ponds, in all the water bodies. They causes foaming. As a result, they are the main reason for water pollution. How to reduce that? You can reduce the branching. You can control the branching. If you make the detergents with unbranched hydrocarbons, then bacteria can easily move into and degrade them. As a result, they can be biodegraded and pollution can be reduced. So that's all. So in chemistry in everyday life, we have seen a lot number of topics. The last part of the topic is nothing but synthetic detergents, which has covered anionic, cationic and non-ionic detergents. Thank you.